What up, peeps? Your friendly neighborhood Monomachos here, speaking to you from Pastiskoye Selo, my Russian base of operations. Anyway, greetings. I hope the Paschalion is going well for you. It's pretty much going well for me. Anyway, today I want to talk a little bit about the EU elections and the elections around the world. I'm just giddy with delight. As you know, the Australians re-elected their Liberal Prime Minister. Liberal there is Conservative, okay? And he was not supposed to win at all. In fact, Ladbrokes and some other, I think they're called punters, or betting organizations had made bets that the left was going to win. And they foolishly paid out $1.3 million in bets 2 days ahead of time. Well, they permanently lost it because the left did not win. And the Prime Minister, who's an evangelical Christian, said that this was a miracle from God, and I believe it was. That was about 2 weeks ago. Then last week, Prime Minister Modi of India, who is also very nationalist conservative, he won re-election handily. Now in India it takes about a month to vote, or before all the votes are counted, because it's a massive population. Well, the other day, and the good news just didn't stop coming. In the EU elections, which is like the midterms of the different European countries, in their representation in the Parliament in Brussels, well, Nigel Farage's UKIP, only he called it, he changed the name because he didn't like Tommy Robinson. I don't want to go into that rabbit hole. Anyway, he shouldn't have done that, but regardless, he won massively, and now that Brexit Party, I believe it's the Brexit Party, is the largest party in the European Parliament. What an irony that is. Seriously. Okay, so and Theresa May has submitted her resignation. She should go immediately, but regardless. Then Marine Le Pen's party, the Front National, or I think it's now called the National Rally, won the French share of the electorate in the European Parliament significantly, to the point that she's calling immediately for the resignation of President Emmanuel Macron. He does not have to call new elections, I believe, until October, but I don't think he's going to last that long. The Italians, of course, Salvini and his Lega Nord, they won. And of course, we know about the Polish party and Viktor Orban's Hungarian party, Fidesz. They led the way last year. But the real surprising thing, which shocked me in an unbelievably pleasant way, was the New Democracy, Neo Demokratia in Greece, won significantly. And this time they're not a cuck party. They're not a center-right rhino-type Greek party. This time they mean it. At least they say. They're even going so far as to say that they're going to caucus or form a coalition with the Golden Dawn, I Chryssi Avgi. Now, I have my problems with the Golden Dawn. I don't really agree with all this pagan nonsense. And, they view Hitler as some kind of misunderstood, maligned figure. They're clearly a little over the top. But where they are right is that Greece is for the Greeks. France should be for the French, and Britain should be for the British. And they don't. They have helped push the Overton window so far to the right that now it's perfectly conceivable that New Democracy will likely form a government with them and will overthrow the execrable Tsipras, who's the atheist, communist, hybrid, secularist, globalist Prime Minister of Greece. Okay, the good news just abounds. I forgot to mention, in Israel, Netanyahu won an unprecedented fourth consecutive term, and he's had a total of 5 terms as prime minister now. What's significant about Israel is not so much the policy position of Netanyahu, but the fact that the center left and the left in general has just utterly collapsed. The major stumbling block to Netanyahu, his Likud party, was Benny Gantz, who ran against him, and everybody expected he was going to win handily. Again, because he's the fair-haired, golden-haired boy of the Western globalist elite. Well, he lost, barely, but he lost, and the left just simply does not exist in Israel anymore. These are all outliers. Now, of course, our pundits hated to admit this, especially those on the establishment left, but they said, who's the winner of the European elections? Who's the winner of the Israeli elections? Who's the winner of Australia and India? Donald Trump. Donald Trump wasn't on the ballot. He couldn't run for those seats in the European Parliament. That's true. But he won. Okay. Trumpism, national sovereignty, populism won. And won big. And this should have the Democrats worried witless. Okay? Because despite all the nonsense that we are constantly being told on MSNBC and CNN and even on Fox, that nationalism and populism is Hitler, and that the majority of the people do not want to vote for Hitler. That's all bullshit. Okay? The economy is going so well, and here's the kicker, as long as it keeps on going well, then Trump is going to win 38 states. Okay? In fact, I want to end on this note. Three different analysts who worked, one of them who worked for Barack Obama, are now predicting a likely Trump win in 2020 based on their econometric data. I'll highlight this below, and we will talk about it more often. And please feel free to comment as always. I'm going to go now. Pax vobiscum. Let's try to love one another. Adios.